It's like, oh, he had a cool project, even if I don't agree with 99% of it. So again, we start with the oblique aerial view. On first reading, I see two projects here. I see this heavy little block boy at the front, and then I see this lightweight little mesh triangle with one of the tops cut off of it in the back. Let's go to the next image. Project description. The museum is located at a point where the urban orthogonal town structure turns into the green park area. That's right. I've been calling this space at the back forest. It's actually a park. Well, it's okay. I'm learning too as I go along. The building consists of two parts. Yes, it absolutely does consist of two parts. The green one has 5 green facades and vertical park linking to the park behind, while the white solid half is matching the urban town structure behind. I've got some diagrams here. Why is it not just one building? Oh, this interior is very nice. Diagrams are very nice. I like the color palette they've used for the program. Very nice. Next image. Why is it 2 buildings? Look, okay. I think this is like a good entry. I think there's some really good work in this. I don't know why it's 2 buildings. Make your mind up. One. Just do one. Just do one building. The museum is easily accessible from all directions. The marketplace view is deliberately shown from a slightly turned angle to visualize the entry, the junction of the vertical park and the solid gallery block with its lifted corner giving shelter to the outdoor amphi. Beautiful CGI. Always very skeptical though when I see just lots of green on a building. Just paint it with trees. Just foliage brush tool, just all over it. Don't know. I think some really good architects have worked on this one. Can't tell who. Bit confused by the concept of having 2 buildings. But that's what they wanted to do for their entry, so that's not my business. Image 4. I mean, whew, this is gorgeous. This is very, very nice. Gonna nitpick this little detail here just a little bit. Just this little thing here is really annoying, but it's really good. Could be the way that the camera's set up, or this could be the point of view of an 8-foot tall man, or the safety rail balustrade here is actually just very, very short, but it is a bit of a floaty image. Like, you're kind of in this image, you're the ghost, you're just kind of floating above the floor level. But that's a nitpick and it's unfair, maybe. Beautiful image. This looks like really good architecture as a space. Yeah, just don't know why they did 2 buildings. Very good. Next project 22. Hovering galleries. The following architectural proposal intends to invite visitors to enter through solid anchored form spaces where weight is felt and history is remembered, grounding the senses to both past and future. As they climb, materials and spaces lighten and mass gives way to air. First, a small gallery, then a workshop space, and so on and so forth. Okay, sometimes it's weird having text that accompanies an image where they sort of don't feel like they're talking to each other in a way. It's kind of like you're saying one thing, but then you're showing me another thing. Now what they're saying here in the text might prove true as we go to the next images, but I don't see it in the first image. In other words, hovering galleries, I just see a big blocky mass of a building. That doesn't mean it's a bad building. It's just more about, let's see if they stick the landing on this one. So let's go to image 2. Maximizing built area, carving the mass, further refining, creating permeability, green urban design. Final result, the hovering galleries. Don't know if hovering's the right word. See, nothing feels like it's hovering. Everything feels quite permanent and rooted to the site. That's not a bad thing. It's just I'm not seeing what has been written. But maybe that's a me problem. Yeah, interior image, very nice, very competent image. Looks like a very nice space. Nothing about this image gives me any indication that we're in a gallery that is hovering. I mean, I think this is a gift shop, but none of these images give me that. You sold me a dream. You sold me a dream of hovering galleries, and I'm just not getting it. Just not getting it. But not bad. Just don't feel like I've gotten what I was sold with the title. Next project. This has a name. Kisla. Cool first image. We've got some orthogonal kind of right angle blocks, and then we've got some swoopy, curvy, bendy blocks. Green roofs with nothing else on it but grass, but maybe I'm being unfair at the minute. Let's go to image 2. Guillermo. The key principles of our proposal are adaptation to the historically and culturally rich environment, sustainable development, and the creation of unforgettable architecture. Adaptation is particularly evident in the building's block-like massing and the diverse decorative motifs that dominate the exterior, connecting the structure to Helsinki's significant block environment. What's it made of? Does it say? Image 3. These are quite nice images. It's quite an interesting project as well. I don't know if I'm super into the idea of the motif though. Not so sure if I'm into this kind of block motif. Bit brown. If it reminds me of a biscuit, it reminds me of a bourbon cream biscuit. Bourbon cream biscuit. Big brown biscuit boy. But I'm not trying to make fun of the proposal. It's just, a bit brown. It's a bit of a brown building. Next image. Interior. I think it's a perfectly nice interior. This girl realizes she's being photographed. She's making her self-conscious. Put the camera away. Now I feel like she's looking at me, and now I'm starting to get self-conscious. If you're going to make an interior image for a site as stunning as this site, I think I would want to kind of incorporate what's visible outside when you're inside. Because sometimes the image itself, it can be quite apparent that you're within, the view is taken within a 3D model. So, I don't know, that's just a little technique that I like. Shadow's quite harsh as well. Okay, before I move on to the next one, not bad, just don't love it, not completely convinced. Could be an issue with the way that it's been written about, communicated, visualized, but not bad. Okay, next project, 24. The building is following the different city fabric, existing ones or future one. The main facade is facing the city centre, the marketplace, and a large public space to welcome visitors in their promenade. This does not look offensive at all. Dislike it on first reference. Under the sunlights. Okay, I see the stained glass window and I'm very intrigued. Light is at the heart of our project. In reference to the Finnish architects and designers who, in a country where light is precious, have skillfully incorporated it into their work. It's also a reference to those who've used it for the therapeutic and public health virtues or for its festive side. See, this is the thing, right? I'm going to assume here that the proposal incorporates some type of facade system that brings light into the building. But if you want to benefit from the benefits of light, why don't you just stay outside? Don't go inside. So why? I mean, I don't think this whole project needs to be based around the idea of a window or glass. I mean, yeah, okay, maybe that's being unfair, but I I doubt that there's something highly innovative in this proposal. However, I do say that, and I look at this section here, and it looks like they've managed to kind of put the displays, the how do you say, the exhibition items, the objects that will be on display in the museum inside the facade. That is kind of interesting. You see how I just pivot? Like, I'll just start speaking about how much I hate something, and before I finish the sentence, I realize that I actually quite like it. This double skin facade thing just feels very 90s. It just feels very like high-tech but dated. Climatic shelf wall. A double glass wall creates a climatic storage and exhibition for the collection. How do you access it though? Like, if you have to curate this space, won't somebody think of the curator who has to climb inside the facade to lay everything out? And you also have to consider that some items in a museum, they don't want to be displayed in glass. Like, it can you want to, sometimes it can affect how the object is read and interpreted if it's behind a glass screen that might have a big fat dirty smudge on it because some kid just ran over and just did that to it. So I don't know, it's a lot to consider. Again, this is just a really high level reading of it. So again, maybe I'm being unfair. It's a cool idea. Not so sure how it works from a practical level. Image 3. See, this is actually really good. It's like a little cabinet of awesome stuff that's just on display for the city. As an idea, I actually really like this. I don't know if it will work practically speaking. Like I said, I would have concerns with curation and staff who would have to curate the museum. But there is something about putting these, like, you know, amazing pieces of architectural memorabilia on display for the city. It's a very nice idea. Yeah, just not massively convinced with how it would be executed, but that's not for me to decide or to work out or to worry about, is it? Next image. Yeah, this is nice. I like this. I think sometimes if you're not 100% convinced how something might work technically, it's really nice to go quite arty with it. Like, I guess I'm looking at this from like an illustrator's point of view. It just feels very playful and fun and cute. In terms of, you know, the package of what this presentation is, it doesn't quite go along with everything else that's been in it. I mean, I suppose it's kind of color-wise, we're kind of looking at these graphics here, but not so much image 1. I think there's a really great idea in this project. I just don't know overall if the project in its entirety is so great. It's good though, so well done. I like this idea, just not sure how it will work. So well done. Next one, proposal 25. Ooh, this reminds me of the dinosaur egg project for some reason. Not so sure why. Big puddle orgy going on down here. Not sure what's happening. It's a big wet space. Yeah. Okay, so I have to be fair and I have to be consistent. I was bashing some projects in the last section because they weren't working hard enough to integrate their landscape proposals with the park behind. But this one has done pretty much exactly that from what I can read in this image alone. So well done. I think it's more of a question of how it's been done. But we will look at this a little bit closer now in a second. Very nice image though. Next image. Yeah, this thing is a real, I'm sure this is the point, it's a real mountain of a thing. Like, it looks like a giant mountain. It looks like a landscape. Landscape, architecture as landscape. The concept envisions the museum as a home for the community, seamlessly integrating with its natural surroundings and actively engaging with local culture. It highlights the museum's role in nurturing a meaningful connection between people, nature, and the built environment. Child-friendly city. I have to be fair, I could absolutely imagine this happening though, or working in the way that it's intended. Um, it is like a little, it's a bit of a, I don't know. I mean, if we've learned anything from the Mound in Marble Arch in London, architects, you know who you are. Um, I can't ever look at concepts like this now and not roll my eyes and assume that the reality won't be anything like this. So if you look at this drawing, which is absolutely beautiful, like this is a beautiful drawing. The cynic in me just makes me worried that the built reality will be far from this. And I know that's architecture in general, and you could leverage that criticism to any piece of architectural drawing, concept art, CGI, whatever. This is one of those ones where it's like bringing back bad memories from COVID lockdown London. That's what it was called, right? The Mound. I'll double check that as well while I'm here. Yeah, the Marble Arch Mound. Marble Arch Mound. Okay. This is beautiful. I mean, from how do you say this? Maybe some people will disagree. If you can only submit one drawing and you want to win a competition, something like this could work. Like, this is such a beautiful drawing. So well done. Image 3. Yeah, it's almost yeah, it's a very good image as well. There is an entire conversation to be had about whether or not the architectural language of the facade is appropriate and correct for the site, and whether or not we need such a complex geometry on a plan level. I mean, is there any value to the way that the staircase works, and does it twist and does it turn? How does it work from an accessibility point of view? There are a lot of questions, but when it comes to a competition, sometimes I just want to be really hit with a beautiful idea and a beautiful image and understand how it could work, So this is definitely on the right path, big time. Yeah, it's I find it to be pretty convincing as a concept. Again, I mean, is there wheelchair accessibility here? You see, because if there's not, like, I just think it's a problem, because it's not like you're dealing with an existing site constraint. Like, you're manufacturing this landscape, like you have the power to make it. So you're starting from scratch. So why is it stairs and not ramps and hills? Maybe I'm being unfair, so I just want to see if there's any info on it. Public space. Is there anything about... Okay, offers an inviting, accessible space that mirrors the natural topography and enhances visitor experience. The plaza also provides a flexible area for temporary pavilions and installations. But where is the accessibility? Okay, I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt here and just assume that it's been considered and it's in some type of supplementary document, but it is a bit of a deal breaker for me personally. But maybe someone in the comments can find it for me and point it out, because I don't actually want to dismiss this project based on that alone, but it is a deal breaker. So I see railings, I see steps, I see some paths. But I mean, even if it's a matter of there's an accessible lift on ground floor that takes you up to the upper floor, you're still limited by how far you can actually traverse the landscape. Okay, yeah, it's potentially a deal breaker for me. Nice concept though, beautiful images. Yeah, I mean, this interior is great as well. Yeah, for example, for people who have been kind of asking in the comments, why does the outside have to do with the inside? It's like, well, it doesn't necessarily, but I would just like to see some reference to remind me that I'm in the same building. And for example, they've done that here with the way that the facade is articulated on the inside. And you can kind of read the roof line and the fall of the site above it. I have no idea how drainage works with this roof structure and this build-up. I mean, you're going to have a lot of plant life above this. It's a technical question. Beautiful images, really nice idea. Well, it's not so much that it's a novel idea. It's actually quite a common idea and trend that we see now in architecture, but this one looks quite good. So well done. Big question over accessibility though. Okay, cool. Next one. 26. Cara is a cultural focal point designed to enrich the community and public waterfront. What does Cara mean? Oh, actually, first reading on this one. It's funny, this seems to be the first project that's done it backwards in a way. For example, where my cursor is now tends to be where a lot of projects visualize the front of their building. But they've done it here, from the way that I'm reading this. Could be wrong. I see 4 big bandy blocks. Designed as a flexible space, the museum caters to a diverse demographic. Yeah. These diagrams are nice. You know, I actually prefer these massing diagrams to the aerial view. It's nice. What's it made of? What is your building made of? Does it say? The innovative facade features a double screen with terracotta cladding transitioning to glazing. I think this one's a bit messy. I think the diagrams are really clean. Like from a massing point of view, it's really nice. And then when it gets to a detail level, it's a bit disappointing. I'm a bit meh on it overall. Not a lot to say. Might come back to it later. Next project. Okay. This is interesting. Oh. Ooh. Okay. I am not the expert in architectural competitions, but I have worked on a crazy amount of architectural competitions. I don't think you should ever put an image like this as part of your submission document. It doesn't sell me anything. I understand. I mean, it's 25% of your submission, and the image doesn't give me anything about what the building will feel like and how it will be. And I understand that the floor area information is important, but I mean, look, it doesn't. It's like 50% of the image. Like that is like prime visual real estate. That's just not. It's just being thrown away for what looks to be a screenshot of a BIM model, where I can't even read the dimensions. I know that sounds harsh, but I'm kind of like 25% of your submission space is just thrown away. When you have these beautiful sketches, you know, and I mean, even just this image down here, like I love this. I don't know what the visual intent was for the color coding of it, considering that this doesn't match image 1. But as an image, this is so cool, like it just pops. Clearly, so much thought and consideration has gone into this, whether I agree with what is here at the end or not, and to just kind of throw away so much space for this. I mean, you could even just sketch over that, make it a beautiful section, because I guess I'm reading it here. There is like a really cool idea here. There's like this atrium on a falling kind of floor level here, with all these different floor plates above it. I bet the light's beautiful in here. There's some trees. I mean, that's disappointing. You deserve to show your project better than this. That's all I'm getting at. Beautiful sketches. Again, sketchbooks, like, I mean, I have no problem, personally, if you submit the oblique aerial view and then you just want to do 2, 3, and 4 with your sketchbook. Like, I just think fair play. These sketches are beautiful. It could well just be that you ran out of time, you were under pressure, I don't know. But, so I'm not bashing it, it's just, come on, it doesn't help. So let's go back to this. Let's go back to what we can look at and what we can critique. Yeah, so there's an idea here about maybe I'm being generous, but kind of getting the park in the back flowing in through the center of the building. This mass sort of kind of is suspended over the public space here. There's definitely an interesting color and materiality. There is some sort of architectural language developing with the way these bendy cuts and swoops and slots work inside the mass. There's a little bit of, how do you say this? Funky perspective, optical illusion, Escher-like visual trickery happening here, where it looks like we're reading a roof opening, but then it sort of bends into the facade opening somehow. Maybe I'm just absolutely having, maybe I'm absolutely getting that wrong, but like, I like all that. Like, I think this is all really cool. I actually like this project. Proposal 28. Okay. I mean, there's nothing wrong with taking a competition as an opportunity to express everything that you love about architecture. I know when I work on a project, I like to cherry pick references from all sorts of mediums and integrate them into my projects in either a literal fashion or in a subtle way or in an abstract way. Why am I saying this? Because when I look at this project, I think you see a designer's they're putting a lot of the things that they like into one building. For example, sawtooth roof, tick. Green roof, tick. Curved facade, tick. CGI TV visual screen, tick. It's just a lot. It's just a lot, and sometimes you need to pick one and just run with it really, really well. But I'm just assuming based on the first image that they've done the opposite and they just went, oh, let's go. So let's look at image 2. These are really nice little drawings and diagrams. An inclusive museum that provides myriad opportunities for visitors to engage, explore, and learn about Finnish architecture. Finnish ceramic and glass blowing arts, building on a theme of transparency and making by hand. The skin of the building will be a combination of transparent, translucent, and opaque panels that will reflect the sky, the midnight sun, the water, and the surrounding cityscape. Nice, yeah, really nice. The north facade will be equipped with LEDs that can be used for video art displays and will enliven the plaza below to extend the domain of the museum. So I think that's kind of what I was worried about from reading the first image. I mean, that's a beautifully poetic description they have there, and then they just kind of bolt on this, and there will be an LED screen so that we can advertise on it. Maybe that's unfair, but you can see that in this image, you know, it's like it's not a hodgepodge, it's like just a combination of a lot of ideas all at once. Doesn't mean it's bad, just sometimes I prefer to see a very confident, clear design approach to a project. It's like what I've been saying in the last part, just bang, straight away, you can just kind of get it. It just speaks to you, like the language, the visual language is very clear. Image 3, yeah. But you see, yeah, I think it's a shame. I think really how big is this? Is that reflecting someone? Who is this? This is really nice. It's very playful. I like the translucent nature of it. I like how it kind of appears to have this woven quality. And then I'm not as happy with this overall. But I think there are just too many ideas in this project. Yeah, and then again, another example of the interior, just not really kind of, doesn't quite reflect anything that's been said so far, you know. Not a bad space, it's not part of the same visual language and that we've been kind of looking at already. But it's fine. Gonna move on here to the next one. Ooh. Artificial Intelligence Architecture Design Museum Forum. At the century of the most important revolution in history, artificial intelligence, a new type of architecture and design museum, can represent in Helsinki the new era of warped space, time, interstellar exploration, social media, and algorithmic recognition. The project proposes therein a public forum, warped green plaza, an amphitheater where people can meet for events, view the sea and city. This park covers indoor museum programs taught by a single large exhibition space, time, and indoor. I'm going. Okay, this is what competitions are all about. I love this. Not the project, just the idea that, I mean, architecture should be kind of, yeah, I don't really know what I'm gonna say. I just like reading that, and then I like looking at this little flat patty boy, beef patty, burger looking thing made out of glass and metal. I mean, it's just kind of like, it's so rude. Like, look at how it just, like, it doesn't give a shit about what's here. It's just it's like a UFO that's just landed. Oh, it's so good. Okay, image 2. Wow. Okay, we've moved on from ghost people. It's all about extraterrestrials now. These little white cyborg dudes, look at them. They come in peace. A warped park would become the new public exterior forum of Helsinki. I can't even read all this. I wonder if they've actually considered this. Actually, I kind of like this top image here. It's very nice with the tram. I mean, have they measured this? Or have they just color-coded parts of the diagram? I'm not going to stand in the way of an architect who wants to be creative and provocative. That's not really what this review's about. I just think it's fun to see something that's out there. I am thinking of, it reminds me of that film from the 80s, Flight of the Navigator. It's fucking crazy. No people in this image, like, talk about hostile. This is wacky. This is nuts. Okay. This can't win. I don't know if the intent was to win. I don't know if the submission was supposed to be a provocation. I don't know if the submission is just a troll, or I don't know if the architects behind this are genuinely passionate and believe in this as a potential piece of civic architecture for Helsinki. I don't know, but it was definitely fun to look at, and I'm going to be thinking about this one in my nightmares for weeks to come. So well done, you have certainly made an impression. AIDM Forum, Artificial Intelligence Architecture Design Museum. Well done. Next project, number 30. The Baltic Diamond. I do like this little floaty boy out here. This is nice. Yeah, some artwork here just kind of scattered around. It's nice. Okay. This is looking very good, very confident. Let's see what the next one is. Next image is. Layers. Cladding, skin C, private, public. Why do you have so much private space? From a representation point of view, this page is beautiful. I mean, like, this is sort of what I'm talking about, how if you have an idea for a project, the way that you communicate that project should be consistent then with that idea. This is a very good page. This is definitely how you should set up a sheet for a competition entry, in my opinion. I'm not overwhelmed with text. Visually it's very clear. I can get all the information that I want. It's good. This so far feels like quite a competent project. Next image. Yeah, beautiful image. It's a bit gloomy back here. I like how the city is reflected within the facade. I do like this project overall. Is there a plan? I guess we have these guys here. Yeah, I mean, even these diagrams are so clear. Like, this is exactly what I love. Morphological study from the city to the sea. So we go from 1, 2, 3, bang, bang, bang. This is it. Like, there is a logic here that's communicated visually very effectively. Now, you might disagree with what the project is, but the way that it's communicated is very effective. So between this and this and this, which is a nice image, but image 4. Again, yeah, see, the interior space feels like it's part of what the overall concept is. It's sort of like 1, 2, 3, 4, build the idea, you know? It's like, build it up to a really nice finish. This submission might be the tightest submission that I've seen yet. So what number are we on? I think we're on 30. Okay, so I mean, it's just the way that they're organized. It's not anything. It's just is what it is. But I very much like this submission. Very good. So 30, well done. Well done. So just one last time. The Baltic Diamond. Beautiful diagrams. Great exterior, great interior. That's it. Bang, 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 bang. Well done. Well done, number 30. On to the next one. 31. Cascading terraces. I'm gonna go to the next image here. Yeah. So, I mean, it's not... I mean, I suppose the point of having 623 entries is to compare them all to one another. But I am going to say it's not necessarily fair to compare each one with the one that comes before it. But this is a good example of this entry, 31, is a victim of what came right before it, 30. I mean, visually, in terms of the way that the colors are used and the diagrams and the amount of text. For example, there's no logical leap from this to this. The building consists of a 5-story structure designed according to the program's requirements. So I'm going to assume that this diagram here is what you get. It's a volumetric study when you could put all of the program into one single volume. And then what they've done is they've splayed that volume and broken it up into these terraced volumes. Each floor is rotated 11 degrees westward. Why 11? The space beneath these stepped floor slabs forms the atrium lobby of the museum. Not a bad idea. Then they're extended towards the market square. See, this is something, how do you say this? I've always had this idea that I know it would be boring, but what if all of the submissions were required to submit their architectural ideas with the exact same graphic standard? Because if this could be communicated the same way as entry 30 was, maybe I would like this one better. So you really have to be careful about your own personal biases with how you look at projects. Because this could be a great project, but I just look at the way that it's been illustrated and I'm just not sold on it. And project 30 might be quite a poor project, but because of the way it's been illustrated and visualized, I think it's a great project. So you really have to look through the visuals sometimes and see what you really think. But no, I'm not a big fan of this one. I'm sure the architects behind this are very competent and very good, but this project, I don't think it's appropriate for what you would want here on the site. But that's just what I think. Next project. Sorry. For us, the project began as something incredibly open-ended and yet very precise. They're two way different things. We wanted to create an urban oasis, ambitious, to make a museum attractive and engaging in the 21st century. It must be more than a building. We wanted to create a living, breathing extension of the natural environment, contrasting the neighborhood park with a natural finish. Wilderness landscape as a facade for a vibrant civic institution inside. Wow, it's a big sentence. This is a lot. This is a big explosion of architectural ideas. It looks like the park has been vacuum sealed and shut inside this building. Maybe that's unfair, but we are going to go to the next image. How does this work? Okay, a lot of work has gone into this one. I'm gonna wager that a big team has worked on this as well. I don't know why, I just have that feeling like a large team has worked on this. It's a lot of different things going on. It's a bit of a mixed bag. Interior space is nice. Doesn't feel like it belongs to this, but okay. Gonna move on to the next one. Again, I'm sure there's some good ideas here, just that you're not selling it to me based on the presentation, but that's just my opinion. 33. Lavu. An urban response to the site. I'd like to think that these are all urban responses to the site. Okay, 4 chunky block boys connected by what looks to be a first floor plinth garden area with a ground floor public plaza. Next image. Wow, they're very loud diagrams. I like the heart. A scheme that respects the site context. It's a very noisy page. It's a very cool image. I think there's a scale issue with this one. It looks a bit too big. I think these volumes are too big. You know what it is? It looks like a theater. It looks like we have like 4 stages here. I don't know how appropriate this is for what the brief is. It doesn't feel like a museum. It feels like a theater with 4 stages. That's how I read it from the outside. Image 4. Escalators. Escalators. I don't think I've seen escalators yet in any of these. Big boat. Oh, the golf boat's back. Fashion show. It's quite a low res JPEG here. Must have been in a hurry to submit. It's fine. I don't love it. I think there's a scale issue with this one. On to the next one. This one looks a bit sad. Maybe it's just the color of the glass. Image 2. Open, restricted, closed. No, I don't think I like this one. Because I can see the view here, and I feel like that nice view is just being disrupted by this. I don't mean to sound really miserly today. I just don't love it. It's a bit of it's just blocking. It's sort of in the way. I think if you're going to commit to something it's aggressive. If you're going to commit to something like this, it needs to be more attractive, I think, visually, and it's very sad and very brown. Next image. I quite like the interior. This is an example of an interior that goes perfectly with the exterior. I know that this is that. And I know people are really annoyed that I've got this fixation about the interior and the exterior reading as part of the same language, but it's just a thing that really annoys me sometimes when it doesn't. Because then I'm just paranoid then that you've just copied and pasted a photograph or an interior online from a different building and just say it's in your building. Like, I remember in architecture school, if I showed an interior, I'd often be asked, okay, show me in the plan where this space is. And some people couldn't answer that question. So that's usually just why I have that in mind. I just remember, well, that didn't just happen in school, it happened in practice as well. This interior is nice. Where does it go in this building? That's all. That's why I'm kind of obsessed with it. Anyway, moving on to the next one. 35. Character. One of the main issues in this competition is the character of the designated site. The Saret development is a departure. This looks interesting. Image 1. Image 2. Wow. Okay, I'm reading the references here, the stacked flat pebbles. Inspiration and evolution of the concept. What type of pebble is it? Is it a pebble? Bit literal. I think someone commented in one of the earlier videos about the use of naive references for a site like this in Helsinki. This one feels a little bit like that. Like, yeah, it's a bit on the nose. Image 3. Okay, I kind of get like Flintstone vibes from it a little bit. It's nice to see the snowy image back. I think it's a very competent, nice image. It does, I think the reference just is, it's too much of a literal translation from the reference. You know, it's sort of like it should be, shouldn't these be stacked the other way? It almost looks like you turned the building into the stones. We started with a building, and we took away a bit of the building, then we took away a little bit more, then we smoothed it out a bit more, then we realized it looked like some rocks, and we just decided to build some rocks. So we built some rocks. I'm not trying to be nasty. No doubt some good hard work went into this, but yeah, Flintstones definitely has a little bit of that going on. Image 4, interior. Yeah, it's fine. I don't know how they resolve that. I just don't understand why architects give themselves such incredibly difficult details to resolve at competition stage. Why would you make this headache for yourself? Why would you do that? But anyway, I won't be the one doing it, so that's all good. Next proposal, next one, 36. Okay, interesting. These 3 volumes have had a fight, and they are not talking with one another, so they've all turned their back on one another and they're huffing. That's what I see from this. Maybe I'm crazy. Distinct units, composition, structural concept, integration to surroundings. This is quite a sparse use of the page, but I think this one works better because at least I'm getting something from the diagrams. I might not agree overall with the concept, but it's still effective use of the space. Like, even if we just didn't have any of this and we just had these, I'd be like, yeah, it's cool, it's good. Wood, concrete, brick, but are they different materials? It's hard to tell here. Could be a structural question though. Yeah, it is the structural concept, but why would you do that? Like, why would you give all 3 blocks, each block would have a unique structural approach, but then you would just hide it with an external skin. Materially, the museum is unified in a uniting theme. Yeah. Materially, the museum is unified in a uniting theme and surfaces and style, yet structurally each main volume is distinct in structural materiality, perhaps not always visible on the surface. See, this is the thing, if it's not visible, no one's going to notice. No cost consultant's going to allow you to have 3 different structural approaches if none of it's visible and doesn't really... It's sort of like you're just hiding your work. Why would... Maybe I'm being harsh on that one. It's just my takeaway from this. I'm going to go to the next image. That's a beautiful image. Now that I look at this image, I think it's AI generated. Before people flip out with me for pointing that out, I can't help it. It's 2024. We have had open access AI generated images now for about 2 years. I can't help myself, okay? I'm not saying that it's bad, it's evil, it's the devil, it should be gone, okay? I'm not saying that. What I am saying is, when I see an AI generated image, I get massive ick. Like, I can't help, it's rotten to me. That's just me. My taste might change someday. I reserve the right to change my opinion whenever I want about this issue because I know that it's a sensitive issue. But it makes me just want to just dismiss this now. Because if I'm an architect and I'm putting so much passion into what I'm designing, why would I not want to visualize it to the very best way I possibly can? Now, whoever's worked on this is free to reach out and correct me. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's not AI generated and I've just completely blown this up for no reason. But I am just looking at things with the blur and the way this works, and it's disappointing. because I was caught out. If you watch this clip again, you'll see my first reaction to this was wow. So it can be effective. It can work for a jury. It's not for me. But I reserve the right to change my mind at any point. Anyway, I'll stop. I'll get off my high horse now. Is this AI generated? Because this is a nice image. And again, I apologize. Maybe this isn't AI generated, but it's giving me that feeling. Okay. And for the record, because I now suspect that image might be AI generated, I'm not saying this proposal shouldn't win. I'm just saying it just disappoints me. It's like, oh, he had a cool project, even if I don't agree with 99% of it. Next proposal. Runko. Looks like a scaffolding done by a jeweler. I understand that it just could be a language barrier, so I'm not actually being mean about it. But I do enjoy it when an architect describes their project for you. So if I were to see this for the first time and be like, oh, it looks like a scaffolding done by a jeweler, that's my opinion, but they've planted that seed for me. It's almost like they're getting ahead of the criticism in advance. But it's fine, it's cool. This does look funky though, very interesting. The scaffolding represents both the universally recognizable architecture in progress, as well as a cultural framework, a structure of knowledge. Just give me the building, let me look at it. Yeah, it's cool. Looks like there's some 3D printed components here. A modular system, all cool. Exoskeleton with articulated node connections. This is a cool project. This model's beautiful. Let's hope it's not AI generated. No, this model's beautiful. These are beautiful. The image is good. I like the concept. Construction cost. Modular system with high degree of repetition allows serial manufacturing and pre-assembly at factory. Yeah, from a cost point of view, it might be good, but from an environmental point of view, I wonder if we've got anything in that, because it's a lot of bespoke fabrication. What is it made of? What is the material? What is the material? Exoskeleton is executed in hand-brushed low-carbon steel. You can say low-carbon, doesn't mean it's low-carbon. It's big and it's bold. Very weary that it also could be an AI-generated image, and now I'm just paranoid that everything's AI-generated. Am I AI-generated? This might be one of the first projects where I would bet I know who the architect is, but I'm not going to guess yet because that's not fair. What number are we on? 37. I am going to say though that you had a whole piece on this project being low carbon, and then I just see lots of concrete. And I know concrete isn't always the worst thing in the world, but I mean, there is a little bit of question marks there about your environmental strategy for this project. But spatially, super interesting. Conceptually, super interesting. Yeah, it's cool. Next project. It's a bit... There doesn't seem to be anything particularly special in it. Just from my reading of 4 images, it's not a criticism of your team as architects, but it's underwhelming. But I'll say something nice. This little section's cute. I think it's because transportation design, like you're trying to sell me your vision for the Museum of Architecture for Helsinki, and you've chosen an image that really just shows me cellular office space. I think the choice of images is letting it down. Not the quality of the image, just the choice of the image. I wouldn't pick what looks to be a cellular office space to sell my vision for the future Museum of Architecture for Helsinki. That's all. Next project. These diagrams are useful. $39 Ultravox. Love the name. Lots of more. Oh, we've got the return of the little extraterrestrial people, little white figurines down here. All of them are in 2s. Next image. Diagrams look nice and clean. Well considered, well thought out project from a building point of view. The new Museum of Architecture and Design is positioned in urban and geometric harmony with the existing surrounding urban structure. Image 3. Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. It just isn't like sometimes like the images, there's not a lot of emotion in them. And I'm an emotional designer. And I like to either make things that can make someone feel something, or I love things that make me feel something. And sometimes it's very hard to ignore the fact that you're just looking at a computer-generated model. Like the last entry, this could be anything. You know, it could be anything. This could be any building in any city in the world. Any brief could be anything. That doesn't mean it's bad. It's just you have such a great opportunity with a competition like this. Albeit, you know, there's a lot of pressure involved in delivering that. Image 4. Again, yeah, some nice spaces in here. Sometimes there are projects. I was having this conversation recently with someone underneath one of my videos about the significance of drawing by hand versus drawing on a computer. But this is a good example of why sometimes some projects and some actual buildings that have been built that you could go visit today, they have quite clearly been made in BIM. Like, they've been designed in BIM, they were born in BIM, they were brought to life in BIM, they were developed in BIM. They may have had 30 different members of staff inherit the BIM model, goes through all of the work stages, and then it's built and it lacks something, it's missing something. I'm quite critical of AI. I'm equally critical of BIM for a lot of the same reasons. Are architects making the building, or is the software making the building and the architect is just facilitating it? You know, like, it's a big question mark I have for architectural design in 2024. The same way you can recognize AI architecture, you can just recognize BIM architecture. And I don't mean to be grandstanding and getting on my high horse here, and it's not fair on this project specifically, but it stands out when you see projects like this. The spaces are cool to a degree. It's functional. I'm sure these architects would be a safe pair of hands and they could build it. It's giving me no wow factor at all. Next project. 40. The hearth. Humans have always sought a home. Ancient nomads and gatherers wandered in search of cozy and safe places. What stands out to me here is that they have gone for an autumn view, an autumn atmosphere. This project looks quite interesting. So they start low and you build right up, which is looking quite cool. Next image. Yeah, some really nice 3D diagrams here. It is not just a museum, it is the hearth, embodying Finland's character and identity through design and architecture. That's how I usually talk when I have no idea what I'm talking about. I like this project. Yeah, this is beautiful. I'm a big fan of this. I have concerns with when they go quite tall at certain points and how that impacts daylight on the buildings across the way, but I'm sure these constraints were in the original brief. Like, you can just see the shadow being cast here, but of course no one's going to propose something that doesn't do that to these buildings. But you know, it's sort of like you'd almost want the higher part to maybe be on this side, but I don't know. This is a very nice project. Yeah, beautiful image. Do we have an interior? Oh, beautiful. Yeah, well done. I really like this project. Very good. Nothing about it is standing out in a negative way. right now. Good, well done. Okay, next project. No, that's it. Okay, so that is another 20. So again, I think if I'm casting my mind back, I think we've had two clearly very good ones, a few mixed ones, a few quite poor ones overall. So yeah, gonna have to just keep going, guys. See what else we can get. See what else we find. Oh, good.